so we have to pay a nominal amount. And devotees in various suburbs are putting up stalls at various stations based on the payment. So we have permissions. We have devotees putting up stalls at Dombivli, Chembur, Dadar, Ghatkopar, Sayan, Ambarnath, Kanjur Marg on Central Railway, and Borivali, Andheri, and Dadar on Western Railway. So if anyone wants to go and assist them at these stalls, please go, especially in the evening times. There are devotees. Some stalls they have throughout the day, morning 9 till evening 10 o'clock. So railway stations are always a good place where books go. So many people come. So that's one option. Then we have Tulabhar setup. Some of you may have seen on the ground floor. So that's also a good experience. People come and sit on it, and based on their weight, the number of books, that much amount is donated, which can be distributed free, especially in Kumbh Mela is coming up, Mahakumbh. So that is another option. Then we have a new thing that we have started this time is a modified version of GCL. GCL was Gita Champions League. Now we are calling it Value Education Contest. So we have got permission for 25 to 30 schools in this area, South Bombay area, where we will be holding that competition. For every student who is participating in this competition, they will get a copy of the Gita, and along with the copy of the Gita, they will get a small booklet, which will contain the question bank, and students will appear for the exam. So average, we may get around 400 students per school, which will come to 5,000 students for 25 schools, 4 to 5,000 students in 25 schools. So we are looking for more permissions, more number of schools. Greater the number of schools, that many more number of books will go. So if you have any contacts with any school, anywhere in Bombay area, please tell them. All the information that you need to give to the school authorities, we have it, the brochure and all. And tell them it is a value education contest. Because children are facing difficulty with all those values. Parents are struggling to give values to their children. Here is an option, based on our ancient scriptures, we can give value to children. With stories, with examples and all those things. And then if we can get permissions, we will have volunteers who will go to each school and conduct the examination. So once we get a permission for a school, particular school, then we need to go there 3 times before we conduct the exam. One, to explain to the school authorities and the students about the exam. Second time to conduct the exam. And third time to announce the scores. So in this way, 3 visits. So we will need volunteers, also devotees staying in every local area. We need to go and conduct the examination. So this is a very nice opportunity for mass distribution of Bhagavad Gita. Many other cities, Delhi, Pune, they are also doing in large numbers. So we will also do this. So if you, please remember, if you have contacts with big chain of schools, that is best. In all languages, English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, whichever languages is possible, we can do that. So till now, our book Go Down is announcing that we have distributed more than 30,000 Bhagavad Gitas. And Gita Jayanti is coming up, December 11th, Mokshada Ekadashi. So please try to inspire your local people, start giving gifts so that we can get a really good score. By December 15th, if we can cross 1 lakh, that will be nice. And then by month end, we can even go beyond. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जयो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवचकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील AC भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंज श्री राधा कुंज श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की समवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories all glories all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirahe Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktirabhavati naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, Text number 9. Ingitagna Puru Praudha Ekaramas Cha Satvata Satvatam Rishabham Sarve Bhutavamsam Amamsata Igitagna Purusha Praudha Ekaramascha Satvata Satvatam Rishabham Sarve Bhutavamsam Amamsata Ingitagna Puru Praudha Ekaramascha Satvata Satvatam Rishabham Sarvai Bhutva Vamsam Amamsata Igitagnya Puru Praudha Ekaramascha Satvata Satvatam Rishabham Sarve Bhutavamsam Amamsata Mataji's Mataji's Ingitagna, expert in psychic studies. Puru Praudha, highly experienced. Eka, one. Aramaha, relaxation. Cha, also. Sattvatah, devotees or own men. Satvatam Rishabham, head of the family. Sarve, all. Bhuta Avamsam, all pervading. Amamsata, could think. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: the Yadus were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. Over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations, and still they were only able to know Him as one supreme who dwells everywhere. Purport: in the Vedas it is said that the Supreme Lord or Paramatma cannot be understood simply by the strength of one's erudition or power of mental speculation. Nayam Atma Pravachena Labhyo Na Medaya na bhauna shrutena. Katha Upanishad 1.2.23. He can be known only by one who has the mercy of the Lord. I repeat, he can be known only by one who has the mercy of the Lord. The Yadavas were all exceptionally learned and experienced, but in spite of their knowing the Lord as one who lives in everyone's heart, they could not understand that he is the original personality of Godhead. This lack of knowledge was not due to their insufficient erudition, it was due to their misfortune. In Vrindavan, however, the Lord was not even known as Paramatma because the residents of Vrindavan were pure, unconventional devotees of the Lord and could think of him only as the object of love. They did not know that he is the personality of Godhead. The Yadus or the residents of Dwarka, however, could know Lord Krishna as Vasudev or the Supersoul living everywhere, but not as the Supreme Lord. As scholars of the Vedas, they verified the Vedic hymns Eko Deva Sarva Bhuta Dvivasha Antaryami and Vrishni Parad Devata. The Yadus therefore accepted Lord Krishna as the Supersoul incarnated in their family and not more than that. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is the chapter which is entitled Remembrance of Lord Krishna. This is the second chapter of the third canto of Bhagavatam. And as we know that this is the meeting between two very great personalities, Uddhavji and Vidurji. And Vidurji is asking about Krishna. And the previous verses very nicely explains the previous 8 verses, or specifically the previous 6 verses. Very nicely explains what is the emotion that Uddhavji is going through in remembering Krishna. Because by this time, as we are aware, Krishna has already departed from the material world, is already gone back. So obviously, with Uddhavji, who was extremely close to Krishna, was experiencing tremendous separation from Krishna. And it is very, very evident. Now, Uddhavji is a great, great scholar. He has a very high birth. He is part of the Yadu dynasty. as I said, he's a scholar of his disciple of Brihaspati. And in spite of all this, he's exhibiting emotions. Now, many a times, in a very, very neophyte or a not so very advanced understanding of spiritual practices, spirituality, we feel that, exhibiting emotions is Maya. Why is he crying? Or why is he feeling bad as somebody is dead? After all, he is not the body. Why should you worry? You take the principles just on the face value. You don't really go deeper into it. That's a very superficial way of practicing bhakti. Because if that was the case, then what Uddhavji did was wrong. Why should he expect emotion? Krishna is gone, so what? Krishna is in the holy name. But here, very important for all of us to understand that Krishna consciousness practice is very much the way we appreciate our own emotions and appreciate the emotions of others, and that too in very subtle emotions. So Uddhavji is practically not able to speak. He's choked up. The previous verse says that, he was asked something and he was just choked up. He couldn't speak because he was experiencing so much separation from Krishna. Right? So expressing emotions is not a problem. Many times on the guise of being a devotee or a practitioner, we see devotees or we ourselves become extremely hard-hearted. We just, as I said, it is the first thing that you learn in your first few classes of Krishna consciousness. You say that you are not the body, you are the spirit soul, right? So why should you worry? So what does the neophyte do when he hears somebody is sick? A neophyte will say, you are not the body, so I don't care. A neophyte husband will tell a wife, well, you are not the body, if you are sick, I don't care, I will go for Mangala Arati. Now see the dynamics here. The husband is not doing anything Maya. He wants to go for Mangala Arati. So he's doing some devotional activity. But he said, well, you are not the body, so I will leave you. You take care of yourself, I'll go for Mangala Arati. And apparently it looks to be right. I mean, no, he's not doing something wrong. And obviously she is not the body. Right? She's not the body and he's not doing Maya. So you might wonder that he's doing something right. But that's not exactly what Krishna consciousness is all about. Krishna consciousness is all about, going deeper into the subtleties of existence. So yes, we are not the body. Yes, that wife who is sick, she is not the body, but she has a body. She is not the body, but we all have bodies, right? What do you do when your car gets towed? You run, right? You run to the place and you say, "Arey bhai, ye license lo, car lo, ye lo paisa," and you give me the car back. But you are not the car, but you need the car, right? You attach to your car. Same thing, the body is a car. You need the car. So you have to take care of the car. The point that I felt very interesting, just the beginning of our discussion, we want to just throw some light on this, that Uddhavji is showing intense emotions about Krishna. That we have lost Krishna. He is no more. We have everything for the Yadus is finished. Because Krishna is no more, and he is showing intense emotions of separation. Right? So, sometimes crying for some devotees is a way to show your bhakti. Sometimes, expressing your emotions is the way to show bhakti, right? So that's one of the things that I wanted to throw light from the previous verses. Now, what has been discussed in today's verse? Uddhavji is in a very high level of devotion, and he is himself a Yadu, and he says, Yadu were very, very unfortunate. He is describing about himself and the dynasty that he belongs to. And why is he saying he is unfortunate? Or why is the Yadus unfortunate? He's saying because they could not understand Krishna as he is. Now, he says that they just knew him as a super soul in everyone's heart. Now, that itself is a very lofty thing. To know Krishna as super soul is not ordinary. 99.9% of people don't even know Krishna as super soul in the heart, right? So, that itself is very high. First of all, people don't even know there's a God. Majority of people are atheistic and they feel very proud in being atheist, right? And then as we narrow down, maybe very few may have some theistic understanding and they believe in God, but they believe in God in a very, very, strange ways, that God is power, God is this, God is that. He is not a person. How can it be limited him to a person? And some have a very Mayaveda understanding of God. Some have a very Brahmavadi understanding of God. Right? But going higher, we understand God as super soul in everyone's heart. And that's a very high understanding, to recognize that every single living entity, Mame Vansho Jivaloki Jiva Bhutas, that every living entity has the soul, super soul in their heart, is a very high level of understanding. But Uddhava is saying, they were misfortune, they were unfortunate, they were highly embraced by misfortune. Why? Because they did not know Krishna as he is. Because Krishna is not just limited to being a super soul in someone's heart. It's much beyond Krishna as a person. So the whole purpose of Krishna consciousness, the whole purpose of our practice of bhakti is what? Why do we do bhakti? Many reasons. But one of the main reasons is to know Krishna. To know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atato Brahma Jigyasa, right? The first invocation prayers of the Ishopanishad is Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now that you have got this human form of life, Atato, now that you have got this human form of life, Brahma Jigyasa, you should inquire about Brahman. You should ask, who is Krishna? We should be desperately wanting to know Krishna. What is Krishna's form? What is the highest understanding of Krishna? Right? That's the purpose of life. And that is why we all are sitting here in this room, to know who is Krishna. Yes, we know very well that Krishna is Sri Radha Gopinath. Krishna is Sri Gaur Nitai. There's a Lord himself standing, Gopalji. But to understand it more deeply, the nature of Krishna, the specific mood of Krishna, the specific personality of Krishna. Right? You might say that he is my boss. You may know your boss or your authorities that this is my boss. So you know him as a designation, that he is my boss. But when you start interacting with your boss, then realize that he is a very nice person. He is very compassionate, but he doesn't like some things. He likes some things. This is the way he functions. Right? So then you start knowing that person more than a designation. You get to know more about his attributes, his personality. Right? So that is what we need to, the whole idea of Krishna consciousness is to understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the cause of all causes. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadirādira Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. The first verse itself, Lord Brahma very beautifully explains who is Krishna. He is very specific. Sarvakarana Karanam Ishvara Parama Krishna is Sachitananda Vigraha, is eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. So this is the purpose of understanding Krishna. That's the purpose of our practice of bhakti. Right? To want to know Krishna more and more. And there is never enough to know Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is always expanding. There is newer and newer Krishna that is constantly expanding. And even if you realize Krishna in a particular way, by the time you realize he has expanded. So you can never say, I know Krishna completely. No one can say that because Krishna is ever expanding. That's the beauty of Krishna. That's the person that we all love. That's the person that we all want to worship. Even Krishna does not know who is he. He doesn't know. And that's why he came as Lord Chaitanya, to understand who is he. Why is Radharani loving me so much? What is it there in me? I do not know it. There's once very sweet. Krishna was very tiny, and he was in front of a shining wall or a shining mirror or something, and he saw himself. And Krishna says, "Oh, who is this beautiful person?" So Krishna was seeing himself and saying, "Oh, who is this beautiful person?" So Krishna does not know how beautiful he is. That's the charmingness of Krishna. And that's the beautiful path of bhakti. There's never an end to knowing Krishna. There's never an end to performing devotional service. But it's ever expanding. Yeah? So we should feel very proud. You say, what? We should not be proud of anything. No, we should be proud because there is, if something is false ego, then there must be true ego, right? Otherwise, we should not use the word false. If we could have just said ego, because by itself ego is bad, then we would have said ego. But we say false ego, that means there's something what is called true ego. And the true ego means that I am the servant of Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead. I'm proud of it. I am the disciple, the grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada. We are proud of it. I am the follower of the Bhakti cult. We are proud of it. We should not be shying. We should be proud. But not just blabbering everywhere about this. Yeah? That's very important. So here, it is explained that the Yadus were expert in psychic studies. Unique. Now, what is psychic study? I said, why specifically the word psychic study is mentioned? That in spite of them being expert in psychic studies, they still didn't know Krishna. So, psychic study is basically nothing but using power. Shri Radha, Gopinath, Lalita, Vishakha, Sakhi Brind ki jai. So, psychic study means to use the art of using power rooted in what we call parapsychology. Such as, you heard of extrasensory perception? That, some people have extra perceptions of subtleties. They sometimes see subtle things. Some people can see subtle beings. Yeah, there are people, they talk to subtle things. So they have what is called extrasensory perception, ESP. Right? And through that, they identify hidden information from normal senses. So they can identify something which most people do not know. And all the Yadus had this psychic understanding. So Uddhavji was saying, you know what? We all had. So something which majority people do not have. We had that extra sensory perception. We could identify things which most people could not. But in spite of that, he's saying. In spite of that. And second thing is the two reasons. One is psychic expertise. And second is they were with Krishna all the time, even when he was relaxation. That means, when are you with people when they are relaxing? When you're very close to them, right? Right, when somebody relaxes, he will allow or she will allow only those people to be around them who are close. Like, when you relax means you are just sitting in a relaxed way, right? I can't sit in a relaxed way on the Vyasasana, right, in front of all of you. Let me relax, and then I put my legs up, and I can't do that, right? So obviously, when I can do that when I'm in my house, and even if my house there are many guests, I will not be sitting in a relaxed posture. I will have something called maryada, some etiquette, right? So we cannot behave in a particular way, right? So these Yadus were with Krishna so Krishna and Uddhav would sleep and talk for hours on the bed. They would just relax on the bed like this, and they talk. So, who would sit? Only a very close friend would be allowed to sit with Krishna like that. And all the Yadus had that luxury that they could actually meet Krishna. So Uddhavji is specifically mentioning. Please understand, each word is very important to understand. That in spite of first having psychic expertise, and second, knowing Krishna so closely that they would be relaxing with Krishna, still they did not know Krishna except for the fact that he is super soul in everyone's heart. And then Prabhupada, in a very expert way, as a very, very thorough Brijbasi, he is immediately saying that in Vrindavan, however, the Lord was not even known as Paramatma because the residents of Vrindavan were pure, unconventional devotees of the Lord. It's a very interesting line he uses. The devotees of Vrindavan were pure, unconventional devotees of the Lord. Now, it's a very interesting point here it is, right? That in Vrindavan, none of the Brijbasis knew Krishna is God, right? And in the material world, we would consider a person to be very ignorant if he does not know who is God, right? कैसा आदमी भगवान को पहचानता नहीं है, right? What sort of person are you, right? So in the material world, when you do not know God, you are termed as ignorant. But in Vrindavan, none of the Brijbasis know God, Krishna as God, but they are termed as unconventional, exceptionally great devotees. You will wonder, what is this? Same thing, not knowing Krishna. But that is where Krishna's Yoga Maya and Krishna's Mahamaya Shakti is working. The Mahamaya Shakti in the material world covers all of us. The deluding potency of the Lord, the very word, it's deluding, it deludes you. It confuses you. That potency is constantly prevalent in this material world, and because of the deluding potency of the Lord, we will not be able to understand who is Krishna. He is constantly trying to delude us. But the Yoga Maya is simply trying to enhance Krishna's pastimes. And Krishna knows very well that everybody starts knowing that he is God. Then, how can you tie God as Damodar? And how can you say, Krishna, open your mouth, you are lying. You have eaten dirt. How can somebody stick to Krishna? I said, no fun with such things. So he will cover up, right? So please understand, externally looks the same. You don't know Krishna. Extremes usually look the same. For example, an extremely wealthy person, but very modest, he will wear very simple clothes. He doesn't want to show off. He's modest. And a poor person will also wear very modest clothes. This is a very interesting phenomenon in the world. You can never judge the book by its cover. You cannot never judge that this person is the ordinary aadmi hai. But he could be a very, very wealthy person. Many times, people who are less intelligent, they are also very, very erratic, very, very unpredictable. And many times, people who are extremely intelligent are also very unpredictable. Right? So many times you see this, an interesting phenomenon that extreme behaviors appears to be similar. Extremes, they're similar. But so it is very important that you go deeper into and discern what is what. Right? So anyways, the main purpose, why is this verse being spoken to us, is that Uddhavji is trying to tell us that the Yadus were unfortunate because they just knew Krishna as the super soul in everyone's heart. They did not know deeper. They did not know the Bhagwan aspect of the Lord. That the Lord is a personality who stays, who has desires, who has friends and everything. They didn't know that. So, we should all know that we can understand God through various yoga processes, by dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Karma Yoga. Right? These are all different ways. But you can never understand Krishna completely through this process. You can understand Krishna only through Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna very clearly mentions in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, verse number 54, Bhaktya tva ananya shakya aham eva vidur Arjuna. That, my dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service, such very specific words. You want to know Krishna? This is the way you should know Krishna. How? Only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Only by undivided devotional service. Bhakti. Only by bhakti, not by jnana, not by karma, not by ashtanga, not by dhyana. No, Krishna says very clearly, only by not devotional service, undivided devotional service. Absolute focused, one-pointed devotional service. Can you understand me completely? And the Brijbasis had that. Undivided, completely focused, one-pointed devotion, and they could understand Krishna completely. So what is the speciality? Let us, for a few minutes, let us understand what is the speciality of devotional service. What does it do? What are the attributes of devotional service? That Krishna declares that he is conquered only by love and devotion and not by power or scholarship or wealth. Bhakti is the most accessible and inclusive path. Right? So the first thing is the supreme accessibility. You get access to Krishna only through bhakti. Because bhakti has that accessibility which others do not have. Others have accessibility. For example, some lift will go to ground to 5th floor. Some lift will go from ground to 12th floor. But there will be one lift which will go from ground to the 165th floor. If you go to the highest building in Dubai, the Burj Al Arab building, the top floor, there's only one lift where it goes, right? So similarly, Dhyan Yoga will take you like this much, Jnana Yoga will take you this much, Ashtanga will take this much, but Bhakti has full access, complete access, complete understanding of Krishna. That's the specialty of Bhakti. And the second understanding of devotional service is that it is beyond intellect, because only by a purified heart. See, you cannot understand Krishna through your brain. You cannot understand Krishna through your brain substance. It's only when you purify your heart and cultivate in your heart love and devotion. Because knowledge cannot win Krishna. Krishna gets bored with people who have knowledge. But because see, Krishna is a person and he wants to reveal himself the way he feels he wants to reveal. And he's very clearly saying that I am not attached to knowledge. I'm not attached to erudite scholarship. I'm attached to devotion. So when somebody is praying with pure devotion, he's attracted. So how do we cultivate this undivided devotional service? What do? We all want to know Krishna, yes or no? Yes. We want to have this undivided devotional service, yes? Yes. How do we do it? And the acharyas give us 5 S's. S. Sadhana, Seva, Satsang, Scriptures, and finally surrender. How do we do devotional service? It is very, very structured and very simple. By performing our sadhana nicely. What do you mean by sadhana? By every single day performing our sadhana. Sadhana means regularity. Disciple means discipline. Sadhana means discipline. Discipline means you want to show. For example, if you are a disciplined employee, the first thing you will do is you will reach the office on time. Right? And when your HR person or when your authorities see your attendance sheet, you say, oh, this person is coming every day on time. Everybody knows it is not easy to reach on time. I mean, the authorities know that in spite of all the difficulties, of the 30 days, he is coming 28 days on time. So what have you done by that? You have shown to your authorities that, you know what, in spite of all difficulties, I have come on time because I want my promotion. At the end of the year, I want that promotion. When you are judging me, I want that promotion. And I want to show it to you by my activities, by my action, that I am a serious employee. Similarly, you have to show Krishna. If Krishna has to give you bhakti, if Krishna has to give you promotion, in your understanding of him, you have to show him. And how do you show him? By sadhana. That means by chanting your rounds every single day as far as possible. In fact, not as far, but ideally speaking, in the morning, by chanting nice rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So there is no, in Krishna consciousness, every day is a holy day, but no day is a holiday. Right? Many times in our jobs, we take a holiday. Sunday, I'll get up at 11 o'clock, I brush my teeth at 1 o'clock, eat my breakfast at 3 o'clock, and then all this, people do this sort of thing. Why? Sunday. I want to break. I want to do something completely different than what I do. But in Krishna consciousness, there is no holiday. We want to do our sadhana. Yes, there is scope for taking rest. Your body gets tired and obviously you need to find to take rest, but not compromising your sadhana. So please, my dear friends, it is something that we do every day. But it is that everyday performance which is going to please Krishna. Just like you every day regularly reaching on time to your office is going to guarantee you, or not guarantee you, but at least going to make you qualified to get the promotion. Nothing is guaranteed, right? You might come every day, 365 days on time, still not get promotion because it's the boss's decision. So nothing is guaranteed in one sense. But at least you get qualified, that at least they will consider it. Similarly, please, sadhana, regularly hearing. Nashta prayashu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Nityam word hai udhar. Nityam means every day. It is not sometime. Every Sunday. Some religious sect, they say, we should be devotional only on one day in a week. And they go to their places only one day a week and rest of the days they enjoy. But Krishna consciousness is not like that. It is minute to minute, not even day to day, minute to minute surrender. Krishna is expecting that from us. That means sadhana means chanting in the morning, hearing Krishna Katha, performing some devotional service, associating with devotees. So that's sadhana. Seva. It's a very holy seva we all have in this month of December to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books in the form of the December marathon, right? It's a seva. And what is seva? Seva means you have got it's an honor to get seva. It is not a burden. Arey yaar, December aa gaya. Wapis Gita. My counselor will say, kitna Gita karega? Mandir mein wahi baat karega. Gita. It is not a burden. Serving Krishna is, if it is a burden, then you are unfortunate. It's a luxury. It's an honor that you are getting to do some service for the Lord. You're getting to do some service for the mission. And what is the mission? Yare dekhe tare kaho Krishna upadesh amar agya guru hoya tare ye desh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given to every Bharat bhumile manush janma hoya yar. Janma sarthaka kauri kar paropkar. We are all Indians. We are born in this holy land of Bharatvarsha. And we all have a mission in life. We all are missionaries. Please understand. We have a mission. What is the mission? That now that we have got the nectar of Bhagavatam, now that we have got the nectar of Bhagavad Gita, let's not just, because nectar will be drying up if you just keep it to yourself. But nectar will expand when you distribute. That's the quality of nectar. You just keep it to yourself. Nectar, nectar, mere paas hi hai. It will dry up. It will be finished. But now we have got the knowledge of Gita. We are so fortunate. There are millions of people out there who are struggling, not knowing how to live their life, fighting a crazy war out there. Just step out of the temple. It's a crazy world out there. You agree or not? It's a mad place. And it's getting more and more crazier. I mean, it was not that bad 10 years back. But now, every month, it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. Do you all agree? I mean, I didn't hear it loudly. If till the time you are not convinced it's a crazy place, you will feel samsara lagilo bhalo. Samsara lagilo bhalo. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, I realize that this is not actually a bad place, a nice place. I have my car. There is traffic jams, but Sunday ko thoda acha lagta hai traveling karne ko. So you will find some reason to be happy, which is obviously required, otherwise you go insane. You have to find some reason to be happy in the material world. But you have to realize this is not, I repeat, this is not a place for a gentleman or a gentlewoman to live. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur clearly said, this is not a place for us. What sort of wars are going on? What sort of craziness is going on? What sort of division in the form of religion is going on? I mean, it's getting crazier. But only when we come here and we hear Bhagavatam, there's there's complete sanity, right? So we don't want to just keep it with ourselves. We need to give this. And that's why Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur very beautifully told Prabhupada in 1922 when they met at that holy place of Ulta Danga. Prabhupada said, we have not got independence. Political situation is bad. First we should get independence. So whether it was 1922, there was a particular political situation that time, or it is 2024, there's a particular political situation this time. Nothing has changed. Politics has always been crazy. And Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur clearly mentioned, this is not going to change. But what we need to do is pump in Krishna consciousness to everybody. That cannot wait, he said. That is the urgency, that is the emergency, because people need to be Krishna conscious. They need to understand the way to live. The moment they are Krishna conscious, everything will be taken care of. Don't you see a change in our own selves? Many of us were, I know people were rowdies, taporis. We all had that background, many of us. But now we are here. At least we are trying to curb those tendencies. Many of us were addicted to alcohol, addicted to all sorts of crazy things. Right? Ask yourself, you were like that. But now you are here, things have changed. Right? Bhakti changes, Krishna consciousness changes. So seva. So please take this service very, very important. That book is going to do magic in people's lives. We are going to distribute these books. Mass distribution of Bhagavad Gita is required for many reasons, which we all know. Right? So seva, that's the sacred service. And not just Bhakti distribution, but so many sevas. But this month, that is the predominant seva that we all can do. Nobody can say, I can't do this seva. On the altar, only people who are Brahmanas can go. Right? So you can, well, I can't go to the altar. Yes, there is some restrictions. But this seva of book distribution, even a child can do. Even an old person can do. Anybody can do. You sit on the phone and just dial numbers and say sponsorship, and people will be happy to sponsor, convince them. And that books will be distributed in the Kumbh Mela and other places where we need to give these books. And believe me, if these books are even not read, they're just there. They are silent. They will do their effect. Yeah, they will do their effect. So seva. And then satsang. We must associate with devotees. And then scriptures and surrender. So of course then we read the scriptures, what we are doing, and finally with all these things we surrender to Krishna. That Krishna, I want to be your servant. And how do you surrender to Krishna? Can you surrender to Krishna directly? Not possible. You surrender to the order of your spiritual master. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Karyo Akya Arna Koryo Mane Asha. When you surrender to the instruction which a person has given you, that's directly surrendering to Krishna. And what happens when you when you have undivided devotional service? Krishna says again in the Bhagavad Gita very nicely. He says, Ananya Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Pariupashade Tesham Nitya Vyuktanam Yogakshema Mahamyam. He says, for those who worship me with undivided devotion, he is giving you a result. He said, he first says, you worship me, you want to know me, you worship me with undivided devotion, and those who do worship me with undivided devotion, what happens? I carry what you lack and supply or preserve what you have. I carry what you have and supply what you lack. Yogakshema Vahamyam. That means Krishna is saying that you will have no problems. Whatever little you have, I'll carry for that. But whatever you lack, Krishna will supply it. That is when you worship Krishna with undivided devotion. So, the Yadus, again coming back to them, they could not understand Krishna as as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or they knew him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but just limited to the form in the heart as a super soul. Because they saw him as a great leader, as a skilled diplomat, as a protector of their clan. They witnessed many mysterious deeds. But what was the reason of their so-called spiritual blindness? Why they could not know Krishna? First, and this is not only restricted to the Yadus, we can extrapolate this to all of us. The first thing, why we may not know Krishna, or for that matter, extrapolate it to why we may not know the glory of our devotees. First thing, familiarity breeds contempt. Many times, the Yadavas, they knew Krishna too closely. So sometimes it's good to know somebody close, but when you become too familiar, see, there's two different things. To be in close proximity is one thing. You can be in close proximity of somebody and still not be too familiar with them. You see the difference? What is the meaning of being too familiar? That means you start judging the person's behavior. You start analyzing why he or she does the way they do. That means you're trying to be too familiar. And that is what happens. Familiarity breeds contempt. Because ultimately, please understand, whoever we are, we have the humanness attribute to all of us. We have a particular nature. We are all humans, right? We all have human body. And Krishna also came in a human form. So you might see that humanness in that person. Sometimes you might see a great devotee suffering some serious disease. And you might say, Arey, he's such a great devotee. How come he's suffering? And that's being familiar. Because he's a human. He has a human body. The human body is suffering. He's suffering? No, he's not suffering. His human body is suffering. But you have become very familiar and trying to judge him. Are you getting the point? So the first thing is, let's not be familiar with somebody, else it will lead to familiarity breeding contempt. The second is, proximity does not guarantee perception. Very important. Just by knowing somebody so closely does not guarantee that you know that person completely. Don't think that way. Because you can know the person completely when you have a close relationship, when you're interacting with that person. But just physical proximity will not know each person. So the Yadus were just physically in proximity with Krishna. They were sleeping with Krishna. They were talking to Krishna. They were dining with Krishna. But the Brijbasis, they knew the internal qualities of Krishna. And that's why they could know Krishna completely. The third thing, why they could, their spiritual blindness is because, as I said, the power of Maya. Let us all not forget that Maya is not Mother Maya. She's not going to be happy to say, oh, Shivram Prabhu is becoming a nice devotee, he's singing nice bhajans. I will support Shivram to sing more bhajans. She is going to work hard, or for that matter, all of us, she's going to work hard to make sure that we get deluded, we get confused, we make offenses. Right? That is why even the Yadus, they couldn't really see Krishna, but there was a Maya. May not be so much of Maya for them, but for us, for sure. And spiritual understanding of Krishna requires humility. The fourth thing. There is a flow of mercy, or there's a flow of knowledge. Any flow requires a gradient. Right? You can't have a natural flow if there's no gradient. If you have a same level, nothing flows. Right? You need to have a natural gradient for something to flow. You need to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I am insignificant. Moment you see Krishna is there and you are seeing here, naturally the grace, naturally the mercy, naturally the knowledge will flow. But if you see, well, I know Krishna. I know 700 slokas of Gita, so I know Krishna. Just by knowing the 700 slokas of Gita, can anyone claim to know Krishna? You are saying no because you all are having real knowledge. But there are people in the world where they say, I know Krishna, I know everything about Krishna, I know the Sata Sandarbhas by heart, I know everything about Krishna, I know the Brajbasi Leela. But they do not know anything. They are just through knowledge understood Krishna, through their dull brains, or in their case, through the erudite brains. But they are not really knowing Krishna. Right? So that is why we come to a situation which is a nice verse which is explained in our scriptures. Pashyan apina pashyanti. That you are seeing but you are still not seeing. आप देख रहे हो but आप नहीं देख रहे हो. And that's why I said Pashyan apina pashyanti. And this is what happens, that many times you are seeing Krishna, but somebody who is very advanced in the knowledge, he will actually see Krishna standing here in front of all of us playing his flute, and he will actually hear the flute. But there's someone who will come to this place and he will see the same, and he will say, ये तो idol है, ये क्या है ये, आप भगवान को ये सब कपड़े पहना रहे हो, ये सब, why waste money on all these dresses? Distribute food to the poor. And they will say, so they are seeing but not seeing, right? Pashyan apina pashyanti. And that is the problem. That because of all the things that we mentioned, because of proximity, because of ego, because various things, you are seeing but you are not seeing. Why are we doing that? Why we are seeing but we are not seeing? Because we are just too engrossed in our daily chores of life. And there was a particular story. A girl went to a very beautiful, exquisitely, naturally scenic place, where everything was so beautifully, arranged by Mother Nature. There was nice mountains, there was nice rivers, everything was very pure. There was nice natural things being sold. There was nice flower gardens. And one shopkeeper, he said that you come, you take this bowl, and you fill the bowl to the brim with water. I said, go all around the city, but make sure not a drop of this water should fall. I said, okay. So she was having that bowl, and she was walking around the city, but she was constantly focused on what? Not a drop of water should fall. And she came after a couple of hours back. I said, I am successful. Not a drop has fallen. And the shopkeeper asked, did you see the beautiful city that you have come? I said, I didn't see anything. She was seeing, but she was not seeing. She was moving around, but not seeing. Pashyan apina pashyanti. Why? But she was just busy focusing on her water bowl. Not water should not come out. Now, this kind of example can be used to see the power of focused attention, that how you have to be focused in spite of all the... But another thing that we learn is that if you are too caught up in the daily chores of a life, mera bill, mera bank balance, my family and this and that, and we do get caught up, right? We do get so damn caught up. We do not have, there's a beautiful poetry I remember when I was in school. What is this life if full of care? There's no time to stand and stare, no time to stand beneath the boughs and watch as long as sheep and cows. Oh my God, I'm remembering after 40 years. But still, what is this life if full of care? There's no time to stand and stare. No time to stand beneath the boughs and watch as long as sheep and cows. Boughs means trees. And what does a cow do? The cow stands and... Right? But when we see people doing like this, "Arey, ye kya time pass kar raha hai?" Work, man, work. Do some work. But my dear friends, you lose to see the beauty of Krishna. You lose to see the beauty of devotional service. You lose to see the beauty of devotees. You lose to see the beauty of everything that is around you because you are just too caught up. May not necessarily be in material duties, but you are just sometimes too caught up in your own devotional activities. You are so busy caught up as a book distributor. Books. Arey bhai, books, yes, you must distribute books. But there is the beauty of how devotees are chanting. Sometimes the manager becomes too focused on his management. Right? So we have to be focused on something, but doesn't mean that you become dogmatically attached to only one thing. You cannot live a unitary life. Life has to have variegatedness. Right? Are you all getting what we are trying to discuss? Right? That many times we just get too caught up in the rituals of devotional service. Rituals. You might not have, it's more of, I would say, the mechanics of devotional service. That means you get up in the morning and you immediately brush your teeth and put your hand in the bead bag, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Hare. Right? Arey bhai, aap 2 minute baithiye, sit down and ask yourself why you are doing what you are doing. Why are you chanting suddenly? Why 4:30? Why are you chanting? Why are you making calls for book distribution? What is the reason? You ask yourself, and then you see the beauty and how Prabhupada has given such a beautiful practice of Krishna consciousness. Right? There's so much variegatedness of Krishna consciousness. Right? So, Paschanapina Pashyanti. So that's why many times devotees, why do they get what you call, use the word fried out? They get fried out. Fried out means, Arey yaar, same thing monotonous ho raha hai. How many devotees find life is monotonous? I don't want to raise your hand. Don't raise your hands. But you might find that the same thing I'm doing. There's no different. Every 10 years there should be a different Maha Mantra. No, there's nothing like that, right? Same mantra, Hare Krishna. 30, 40 years I've been chanting the same mantra. For the next 30 more years, you will chant the same mantra only. You are not going to. There's not suddenly an announcement done there. What of the 4 active principles, 4th one is removed. Only 3 now. It's never going to happen like that, ever. Gita and Bhagavad is going to be your scripture. Chaitanya Chittamrita is not suddenly there's going to be some Shakespeare book. Okay, let us read Shakespeare. My point is, we are going to do the same activity. We are going to chant the same mantra. We are going to chant this. We are going to have the same deity. We are going to have the same story. Janmashtami means Krishna is born in the prison. What story hai na? There cannot be a different story, right? But if you see it as a ritual, if you see it as a mechanics, if you see it as a monotonous thing, you'll get bored after 5 Janmastamis. On the 6th Janmashtami, tell me some new story, man. But if you are relishing the sweetness of Krishna, then even after 20 Janmastamis, you will be waiting for the 21st and say, wow, again Krishna is going to be born. Again he's going to be in the prison. Again Kamsa is going to kill all the 6 children. And again Nanda Maharaj is going to take Krishna to Vrindavan. And again we will hear Nandotsav. Many times my parents would ask me, of course they were nice devotees, but in the beginning, they would say, I'm going on a yatra. Where are you going? Vrindavan. Okay, go. After 2 days again, after 2 years again, they said, I'm going. Where are you going? Vrindavan. Go. I said, but why do you go to the same place? Because the concept in the material world is you go to variety of places. Sometimes Nainital, sometimes Saputara, sometimes this. You see all the places. But you guys go only to 3 places. Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, Mayapur. Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, Mayapur. Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, Mayapur. You don't get bored? I said, no. I said, you go to the same temple for 10 hours. You're sitting in the same temple for the last 35 years. But does anyone get bored? Upendra Prabhu has been coming to this temple for the last 35 years. He's a senior, very, very senior Vaishnava. Ask him, does he get bored? He's not bored. It's the same deities. Deities have not changed. The temple is practically the same, maybe a little more, getting more beautiful. Right? Why? Because he's not caught up in the monotonous or the mechanics of Krishna, of the ritualistic bhakti. We have to perform a rasik, we should enjoy the rasa of Krishna consciousness. That, the sweetness of Krishna consciousness. And then Krishna consciousness will never be monotonous. It will always be, newer and newer experience they will experience. But if you do not, then pasyanapina pashyanti. You are seeing a devotee, but still you are not seeing. You will see a devotee, he said, oh, book distribution. How many books you will do? Are bhai, you ask him something beyond books also. Na? Bhai, you ask him, how is his Krishna consciousness? How is he doing? How is his family? Huh? So that's what I'm trying to say. The aspect of pasyanapina pashyanti, seeing but not seeing. And this beautiful idea of the Krishna getting revealed just by unalloyed devotional service was so very graphically explained in this beautiful story when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India. He spent 6 years in South India, and he was at Srirangam, right? That illiterate Brahmana, Srirangam. So he went to Srirangam, and there was a unique person. He was a completely illiterate Brahmana. He had no idea about any words or alphabets. He was completely illiterate. It was explained he was such an illiterate that he didn't even know whether the book is straight or ulta. He didn't understand. For him, everything was, as we say, kala akshar bhais barabar, something like that. He was not, but he would read Gita every single day. And as I said, he was illiterate. Somebody doesn't know how to read. How will he read? He was reading in a very, very funny way, sometimes mispronouncing the words, sometimes, having very, very strange understanding, strange way of speaking those words, mispronouncing them. And people would laugh at him. I say, yaar, see, the simple word bhi aata nahi usko. And they would ridicule him to such an extent, they would spit on him. But why was he reading Gita? Because he had complete faith in his word of his Guru. His Guru has said that you must read Gita every day. So he was reading it. He didn't know how to read, but he was reading it. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw him, I said, but I can see you can't read the Gita. But why are there tears in your eyes? That means you are experiencing some emotion which none of us are experiencing. None of them are reading Gita, they have tears in their eyes. And that is why we understand that this Brahmana, he went in the core of his service. He was not doing it superficially. Why was he having tears? I said, oh my dear Lord Chaitanya, whenever I read the Gita, that chhabi, that form of Krishna driving the chariot of Arjuna comes in front of me, and I am just amazed. How can Krishna be such a person who is Supreme Personality of Godhead? He is driving the chariot of Arjuna. What sort of Lord is this? What sort of service attitude the Lord has for his devotees? And experiencing this, there are constant tears in my eyes. And what did Prabhupada Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? You have understood the whole purport of the Bhagavad Gita. You have completely realized the whole Gita, even though you do not know a word. See the interesting thing, please understand this story. He didn't know how to even read the Gita, but he knew the whole deep purport of the Gita. Why? Because he was seeing the essence of the Lord's personality. As I said in the beginning, we are here to understand the Lord. And he understood the Lord's what sort of personality is this? That this Lord, he is so eager to serve his devotees that he is becoming a chariot driver. Chariot driver means Arjuna was actually kicking the Lord when he wanted to indicate which direction he wanted to go. He would kick on his left buttocks. If he wanted to go to the left, he would kick on his right buttocks, he would go to the right. And that's how the Lord was driving his chariot. That's the way charioteers drive chariots. And that's how the Lord was driving his chariot. When the horses would become tired, he would say, Arjuna, you fight the enemy. I would go and he would feed water to the horses. He would clean the horses, massage the horses. He was being the servant of his servant. This is my Lord. And when this Brahmana would read this Gita, whatever he could read, but this was the emotion churning in his heart, and that churning of the emotions was causing incessant tears in his eyes, and that is the devotion, and that is the meaning of knowing Krishna completely, and that is what we need to practice. I'm not saying that we all need to be illiterate. Oh my God, I'm literate, what do I do now? How do I unlearn everything? No, that's not the whole idea. You can be the most erudite scholar. We have people like Sridama Prabhu, and we had devotees like Sadaput Prabhu. Very, very high level. Our Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, who established the Bhakti Vedanta Institute. The PhD scholars. But they had such genuine devotion. Sridama Prabhu, you hear his classes. I was hearing his class the other day. And, he is such a scholar, but he is hardcore Brijbasi at heart. So what I'm saying is nothing against the knowledge, nothing against you, of being expert, erudite scholar. But you must focus on this. So that is why it is very nicely explained that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed this illiterate Brahmana. And we learn this. That if you want to really know Krishna, then don't be proud of your attributes, but just be proud of Krishna's attributes. And that's how you'll know Krishna. And we would like to just end by another very amazing story that, here the Brijbasis knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though he was stealing butter, I mean, in the sense, they knew, but they did not know, because they didn't want to deal with Krishna as a Supreme Personality. They said, he's our Lala, he's my friend. Sridama would defeat him in wrestling match. I said, he defeat. Which Lord would get defeated from his devotee? And Sridama ji was an ordinary coward boy, but when Krishna and Sridama ji would fight, Krishna would be defeated. I say, Krishna, I defeated you. They are telling you are God. What God you are? I defeated you. What nonsense. And then when Krishna was carrying the Giriraj, with his left finger, he said the elderly Gopas were saying, Hare, how can Krishna carry? They are putting sticks. Can you imagine what sort of Yogamaya is this? They're seeing but not seeing. Again, in the spiritual sense. Pasyanapina Pashyanti in a spiritual sense. They are seeing Krishna, but they are not seeing. They are seeing that Krishna is carrying. He is carrying the whole mountain with his left finger, but they say, no. We must help Krishna. And then, like Radha Prabhu has a stick, they would put the stick up, and they said they were supporting, as if they thought they were supporting. And once Krishna wanted to show them, so he little tilted, and the whole mountain. So this is, this is devotion. So Krishna once, this is a story which shows the power of pure devotion. So once Krishna was with the gopis in the area of Govardhan, and they were having their pastimes, and then Krishna left the place and they were searching. The whole purpose of our Krishna consciousness movement and the way the Goswamis has given us is to always search for Krishna. Kothai Krishna. हे राधे ब्रज देवी के चललिते, हे नंद शुनो कुथा, श्री गोवर्धन कल्प पाद पतले, कालिंदी वने कुथो, घोषंताविति सर्वतो ब्रजपुरे, खेदेर महाविवलो, वंदे रूप सनातन रघुयुगो, श्री जीव गोपालको. This is the Sadhu Goswami Ashtakam. It is said that the Goswamis were constantly searching. And Prabhupada says very often in his lectures that the Goswamis never ever said that, I found Krishna. Krishna was standing there beneath the Ter Kadamba. They say, hey Radhe Braja Devika. So we are always in a mood of searching, because that search is always good, because we are always eager to find Krishna. The moment you think you have Krishna, you become complacent. And the moment you become complacent, you become familiar. And when you're familiar, you start taking Krishna for granted, as we just discussed. So anyway, the gopis were searching for Krishna. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And Krishna said that, and let me just make fun of them. So the Krishna took the form of the four-handed Narayan. Krishna only, but he took the form of four-handed Narayan. So it is not Narayan, please understand. It is Krishna, peacock feather, but four-handed form of Narayan. So of course the peacock feather was not there. So he took the four-handed form of Narayan, and all the gopis came in that direction. This is happening at a place called Paitha. For those who go to Govardhan, you will see that place even now. So the gopis asked that, they saw Narayan. They said, oh, Narayan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, they offer obeisances. But they had only one question for Narayan. Because मुद्दे की बात कर रहा है ना, मुद्दे की बात क्या है? What is the work that we have? Narayan, Namo Narayan, all glories to you, Narayan. We offer our respects to you, Narayan. Did you see Krishna? Where is Krishna? Which direction is? So this is again, the devotees are very, very clear on what they want. Very one-focused. They didn't say, oh Narayan, oh how is everything? Where is Lakshmi ji? One focus, Namo Narayanan. Where is Krishna? And with his four hands, he pointed out in this direction. And they all ran in this direction. And then Srimati Radharani came in front of Narayan. And they said, she was asking, did you see Krishna? And now please see this, the power of devotion. Now Krishna had taken the form of the four-handed Narayan. But when Radharani ji came in front of him, he could not maintain his form. Now please understand, what can Krishna not do? When Krishna takes the form of Narayan, he's Narayan. But he was trying to control his two hands from melting, but his two hands melted. And even though he didn't want, but he was revealing his form as Krishna to Radharani. It is the power of the devotion of Srimati Radharani. So are you getting the point? Says here we are talking about Krishna. They didn't know anything but the super soul in the heart, the Yadavas. But here Krishna himself came as the four-handed form. But in front of Radharani, he couldn't maintain that form. That is the devotion. That is why he said, by unalloyed devotional service can I be understood as I am. And Prabhupada said very, very clearly, very nicely, we must all remember, that devotional service is so simple, Prabhupada said, that sometimes you might miss it. It's so easy to please Krishna, but sometimes, you realize that, is it so easy? Bas, ho gaya. Finished. So sometimes it can't, something so lofty as pleasing Krishna can't be so easy. You want to complicate things, right? We like to complicate things. But actually, Prabhupada said, actually it is very easy. Just chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Prabhupada said, this is a beautiful statement he said. What he said, just chant Hare Krishna. And by chanting Hare Krishna, everything will be easy. But Prabhupada said it, that sometimes devotees will say that, is it so easy? We will miss it. And that's why Prabhupada said it, that only if you knew who the devotee sitting next to you really is in the spiritual world, you will never offend a single devotee. Because we all, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoy Shravan Adi Suddha Chitte Karare Udoy. Not only the human beings sitting here, but Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kapurna. Every living entity has pure love of God in his heart. Shravan Adi Suddha Chitte Karore Uday. And the purpose of our life is to Karore Uday. That the pure love of God is there in our heart. It is dormant. It is covered by the thick clouds of ignorance. And Karore Uday, by performing bhakti, we have to Karore Uday. Is there in everyone's heart. So everyone has that devotion. Everyone has that direct relationship with Krishna. Only if we knew it. Will you ever, if I knew this gentleman sitting in front of me, I said, if I come to know, he has some service to Krishna, but if I come to know what he is serving, will I ever offend him? I said, my God, this is so special. But reason we offend somebody is because we don't really understand. We don't really deal with them on a spiritual platform. And that's why we don't understand Krishna, because we don't deal with Krishna. We make things very mechanical. We make things very, very material. And the worst thing we can do is to make our relationship with Guru very mechanical, very material. Because Guru is the transparent via media to Krishna. So Krishna consciousness is very simple. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittite Koryo Akya Arna Koryo Mane Asha. That's it. Everything is in this phrase, in this line. Guru has told you to do your sadhana nicely. Guru has told you to not to offend his Vaishnavas. Guru has told you to do your seva nicely. Guru has told you not be duplicitous. Just follow that. In a very simple saralta. In very straightforward way. Simplicity. When you follow this, we will be Krishna conscious. Like the illiterate Brahmana. He didn't have any of this complex attributes. But he won the heart of Krishna. So I think that's what we are trying to understand from this. Where Uddhavji is trying to say that, even the Yadus, they were very, very psychically qualified. They had psychic understanding. They were very close to Krishna. They were playing with Krishna. They were dining with Krishna. But still they didn't understand Krishna completely. They were limited to understand Krishna as the super soul in the people's hearts. But Uddhavji is trying to tell us that, the Brijbasis, and that is what Srila Prabhupada has given us understanding on how to really know Krishna completely. Krishna se tumhara Krishna dite paro, tumhara shakati aase, ami to kangala Krishna Krishna boli. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Krishna is yours and you can give Krishna to me. So, dai thava pache pache. And that's why I want to just follow in your footsteps. Because Krishna is yours. The pure devotee like Prabhupada, as Krishna is with him. And Prabhupada can give that Krishna to us. So I think this is a very, very interesting and beautiful verse on the importance of simplicity in Krishna consciousness, importance of being attached to the core practices of Krishna consciousness, and not getting too mechanical and making it too ritualistic, the practice of bhakti, but just being attached to the core. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna. श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी।
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण।
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे देशता जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री चैतन्य प्रभु गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे